I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. So right here at the top, we have a couple reminders for you guys or little tidbits you might want to know about. So tonight is the Met Gala. We will definitely be sharing our favorite looks from the red carpet on our Instagram stories. So tune in on Instagram if you want to see those. It's sugarfreemedia.co. And then also, in case you've been wondering, Mercury is indeed in retrograde right now, you guys, and it will stay there for another 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. And that is also going to include a full moon with a lunar eclipse this Friday, May 5th. So there's definitely going to be some bizarre energy. If you're into all that, beware and expect the unexpected. It is a great time for slowing down, going inward, and practicing self-care. We have 2 mini stories as well for you guys right here at the top of the episode, and then we'll get into our longer stories. Let's jump in. So the U.S. has begun the evacuation of U.S. citizens via land from Sudan. Again, the airspace over the country is closed right now because of the fighting, and the international airport there has actually become a target in all of this. A convoy of buses carried about 300 Americans to nearby nations. Again, let's just hope that everyone makes it out safely, but more importantly, that this conflict dies down quickly. And for our second mini story today, the Federal Reserve, after a thorough investigation, found themselves at fault for the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. At least they're being honest. They said they were absolutely not hard enough on this bank when conducting their oversight. They also put out a report on the subject that was hundreds of pages long. Luckily, we have continued to avoid a recession from the variety of economic hiccups we've been tripping over recently. Let's just hope we can keep clearing these hurdles and keep a recession at bay. For our first longer story today, I do have to issue a content warning. This story involves a mass shooting. So here we are again, and again, and again, and again. This past Friday, a neighbor asked the man next door to please stop shooting his gun in the front yard. The man responded by shooting him with an AR-15. He then went into the man's home, shot and killed his wife, and then shot 4 other people in the home, almost execution style. They were only shot from the shoulders up. Witnesses say that they felt he wanted to eliminate all witnesses so he could potentially get away with the crime. 4 people were confirmed dead on the scene, but a 5th person died after being rushed to the hospital. The original man who confronted his neighbor, he survived by literally running away from the home. But that's when the gunman went back inside the house and killed everyone else. Fortunately, 2 children were left alive thanks to friends who died protecting them, shielding the children with their literal bodies. This ended up happening in Texas, where there have been a number of pretty extreme gun violence instances as of late. But as we know, these events are incredibly common and everyday all over the country at this point. America is an incredibly dangerous place to live right now, and our leaders do not seem eager to do anything to protect us. And as long as they continue to throw their hands up, Americans will continue to be executed in their homes, in our schools, in our churches, malls, movie theaters, and more. Action on this is long overdue. And next up for today, we're going to touch on Pence's testimony. So as promised, here's what we know. As we discussed, Vice President Mike Pence did indeed have to testify before the January 6th investigative team. The questions were encircling President Trump's efforts to remain in the White House following the results of the 2020 presidential election. The questioning lasted 5 hours behind closed doors. We do not know what was asked of the former vice president. Some of Pence's aides have also had to testify in these proceedings. If you guys remember, Jack Smith, he's the one who's conducting this investigation, and he is a well-known Republican, so as to try to keep the investigation fair. Jack Smith, as of right now, seems to be most interested in how President Trump tried to hold on to his seat in the White House rather than how he may or may not have provoked the riots, let's say. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on how all of this unfolds. And for our final story today, Jerry Springer passes away. So Jerry Springer passed away at the age of 79. He was best known for his role on TV as, of course, the host of The Jerry Springer Show, which ran for about 30 years on TV. Some people called him a pioneer of trash TV. Basically, the show's concept, if you're unfamiliar, was kind of like a talk show, but one that would reveal like juicy, scandalous details about people's lives, lots of cheating, confessions, on-air showdowns, and hair pulling. He famously said, quote, "With a face like mine, I would do better in print," end quote. Ironically, though, he actually had a political career. He earned his law degree from Northwestern University, and then he went on to sit on the Cincinnati City Council in the 70s. He was caught writing a check to a prostitute early on in his career, which would have been a deal breaker for many candidates back then, but he didn't let it slow him down. He actually made jokes about this scandal in his TV ads. He went on to serve as mayor of Cincinnati through 1982. He then became a news anchor and he had his own show, which was originally intended to be a more serious toned talk show. But as we know, that's not how it ended up. He ran with this sort of shock value concept as it kept people coming back. And before he knew it, his show was all about the raunch. He even helped advise a young man looking to lose his virginity back in 1995. Pretty crazy for a former mayor. Other people attempted to, sort of recreate his style of show, but ultimately they couldn't live up to his particular brand of brazen. The show only ended in 2018, but after 3,000 episodes, you guys. He did eventually host a podcast version of the show as well. When he died, Jerry Springer knew he'd been sick, but he wasn't sick for very long. Unfortunately, he died of the very brutal pancreatic cancer. But it's said that he went peacefully after a very full life and surrounded by family. And that is as much as anyone could ask for. May he rest in peace. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, Jerry Springer's signature sign-off. Take care of yourself and each other. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the news du jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.